European Political Community's inaugural summit. And we can go there live now, speak to our political editor, Darren McCaffrey. Darren, the Prime Minister hoping to draw a line under what's been days of divisiveness now amongst the party at this new summit.
Yeah, normally you would expect, wouldn't you, particularly a Brexit-supporting Prime Minister, Liz Truss, would face a more hostile reception here on the continent than back home. But frankly, I think she might be quite relieved in many ways, Paul, to be away from the UK, at least for today. She is due, as you say, here in Prague in the next couple of hours or so. Look at some of the headlines, though. Despite the fact that that speech went on pretty well with lots of the members in the hall and indeed elsewhere, but still Nadine Dorries, former Culture Secretary in the Times today, saying that there is no support for what the Prime Minister is trying to do, that she doesn't have essentially that mandate, if you like, from the party or indeed the public to be so radical, and that she risks losing in a landslide election unless she changes course. It follows on from what we heard from Grant Shapps, another Boris cabinet minister, just a couple of days ago, in which he said that Liz Truss essentially had a week or so to sort things out, or she would be in trouble. So all those domestic problems at home. Here, though, she's going to attend the inaugural session of what's called the European Political Community. It's the brainchild of Emmanuel Macron, the French president. And it is not just an EU summit, if you like. Clearly, that would be the case if Liz Truss was here. Includes lots of countries around Europe, like Turkey, Norway, lots of the Balkan countries, Azerbaijan and others as well. Russia, Belarus, the two exceptions to that, not least of all because the war in Ukraine, security, and migration are kind of the big issues on the agenda. Energy security in particular. Liz Truss will be wanting to keep a close relationship with the Norwegians as we try and sign a long-term deal with them. President Zelensky is going to dial in, as he usually does these summits, again pleading with Europe to remain united in their cause, trying to win that war against Russia. And this kind of talk about migration, because you have to remember migration has clearly been a big issue for the British government, but it is a big issue for lots and lots of European governments too. Migrants travel through Europe, and Liz Truss, I think, has recognised that if you want to get on top of this issue, you are going to need the cooperation of France and others. And that was the argument she was making to me and other journalists the other night in explaining why she's here. Her argument is that when these big global topics are being talked about, she needs to be at that table. She needs, essentially, to have her voice heard. But you do get a sense that there's been a slight change, at least, in tone when it comes to our relationship with the rest of Europe under this new premiership, with Liz Truss, Paul, even as going as far as saying that she may well be up for hosting the next summit, this European Political Community Summit, in London within the next 6 months or so, which, you know, frankly, is a bit of a sea change in terms of British approach over the last couple of years, not just to the EU, but indeed to other parts of Europe as well.